All right, we're going to get started on our series about creating web pages here, and actually we're going to wind up using a couple of different programs. But before we even get into the programs that we're going to use to make web pages, this first little step, this first session, is about having a plan. And I'm just going to diagram something out here in Photoshop for you. And let me make sure that I have yeah, that'll work. Fabulous. All right, you have to have a plan. You got to know what you're trying to do with your little website, and we're going to create what's called a micro site, which is a very small website. And so what you've got to do is have a plan. Now, the plan's going to work kind of like this. We have to have a page that's going to be called index, which is the very first page that somebody would see on your website. So we're going to make a page and call it index, and it's going to need to have kind of a menu on it. It's going to need to have some buttons on it that will allow you to jump off and go to other pages. Now, we're also going to have to make those other pages. We'll have to create some pages that are going to have some stuff on them. And once we get done setting all this up, and I'm just kind of diagramming this out, once we get done setting all this up, then these buttons that we make on the index page are going to be connected out to each one of these pages. So you got a button that goes here, and 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 a button that goes here. All right, now the next question that comes up is, what's going to go on these pages? What are we going to put on here? Well, what I want you to do is to think of things that you've made in this class. We've done lots of things in this class. We've made things with Photoshop. We've made things with Adobe Illustrator, like the solar system diagram or some other pictures that you made in Illustrator. We've made Flash movies. We've made all kinds of different things that will communicate ideas and things to other people. We made a podcast. So I want you to think about and pick 5 different, you have to have 5, you're going to need 5 different things that are going to go on these pages. We want to put something on this page, and this page, and this page, and this page, and this page. And they can be any of the 5, I mean, they could be like maybe your Photoshop poster. All right? All right, well, maybe I want to put that on that page. And then maybe I want to put my solar system on a page. Okay, cool. And maybe I want to put my Magellan movie on a page. All right, very cool. And then maybe I want to put my podcast on a page. All right, we could do that. We could make that work. And then maybe I want to do one of my other Adobe Illustrator things, you know, like the original picture that I made in Adobe Illustrator. Okay, so anyway, you got to kind of look back through your stuff and find 5 things that you want to put on these pages. So we're going to have to eventually create 6 pages. One is going to be the index page, a main page that has all the buttons on it. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more. So the first thing that you need to do is have a plan. And the plan's going to involve, what am I going to put on these pages? All right, well, I'm going to kind of get out of Photoshop for a minute. And here's how you could kind of work on this plan. You could go down to your Start button right here. You could go to Computer right here. Now, I am not at a place where I'm connected to my network drive, to my Drive H. Okay, so I've got to use this little hard drive that I've got over here. But what you would need to do is go to your network drive, Drive H, and start looking at the stuff that you made and make decisions. All right, I'll go here to, and I'll get inside my classes folder and in here. Okay, now here's all my stuff that I did in Adobe Illustrator. All right, so you would go look on your network drive, and if you're not sure what some of this is, if you're looking at this and you're thinking, gosh, you know, I don't know for sure what even some of this is or what it looks like. Well, all right, so here, let me check out. Here's my solar system. I can just double click it, give it a second here, it'll load up. And it will show me, it will remind me of what that was, what it looked like. All right, here it comes. Adobe Illustrator is loading up. And you can do this with, you know, Flash movies, with Photoshop things. You can just find the file in here on your network drive and double click it, and then it's going to load it up for you. And it's going to show you, here we go, got this all loading up here. All right, so there's my solar system. And if I decide, yep, that's one of the things that I want to put on a web page here, it's going to be part of my website, well, then either you got to remember it or you got to write it down or do whatever it is that you need to do to remember that, okay, that's one of my 5 things. All right. Now if I go back in here and I'm looking at and again, this would be your network drive, your drive H, and maybe I go in here and I say, okay, well, gosh, I want my Iron Man poster that I made. Okay, so I'll double click that just to peek at it here. I'll double click it real quick, and it's loading in Photoshop, and there it is. And so I just said, yep, that's another thing that I want to show on my little website. All right, so you got to remember that. Write it down, do whatever you want to do. You're making a plan. All right, so I've got two things now. I've got the solar system and I've got my Iron Man poster. And so I would have to kind of continue looking through all this stuff here to see, all right, what do I want to put on my, do I want to put my Magellan movie or my little dancing stick figure? These are all Flash movies. Most of these are Flash movies in here. So you have to look through the stuff that you've made and make decisions, because you're going to have to pick out, like I said here, back in old Photoshop, you're going to have to pick out 5 things. That looks like a mess now, but that's okay. 5 things that you want to put in this little microsite. All right. So the first step is make a plan. So let's go do that. Look through your files, decide what you want, and we'll start with that.